Alright, inner tubes, here we are. 1090 Adventure R. You can see the ice warning flashing on the dash. It's literally freezing temperatures. This is a much different dash from the 1290 Adventure S I just rode and the Adventure R. Not quite as fancy. Doesn't look like an iPad. The windshield is much smaller than the Adventure S. The bike is taller. I'm alternating between my tippy toes and my the balls of my feet. I'm 6 feet tall, so this is a tall bike. This one's got an Akrapovic exhaust. It's got a nice low growl. It's not too loud though. That's the good thing. It's not obnoxiously loud, but it's deep and dangerous sounding. This bike is in sport mode, which on a cold day like this with knobbies, well, yeah, I'm gonna have to be careful. The windshield is in its uppermost position. 21-inch front wheel. We'll see how it handles. It does feel like a big dirt bike. We'll be on pavement today, but there is quite a bit of rough pavement. Good acceleration. Okay, this bike gets up to speed really quickly, not as quickly as the 1290. It doesn't have that brutal want to jump out from underneath you quality that the 1290 has. But this will be good enough for all but the most demanding adrenaline junkies. It's certainly fast. We're going into the wind, it's cold, the wind protection is less than on the 1290. These are bikes that they just have less wind protection because they are meant to be ridden more off-road. They're built so you can see over the windshield, you can see the rocks and rough terrain coming. Okay, we'll take this in third gear, we'll see how things go here. Yeah, just like on the 1290R, the knobbies on this thing and the 21-inch front wheel is a non-issue on the street. Absolutely non-issue. I don't feel that either is an impediment. Now, we're not really pushing the limits of these bikes. It's very cold. No one's going to be trying to drag a knee today, but the knobby tires are perfectly fine on the road. My only concern is if you buy this bike with the knobbies, unless you're going to do a significant portion of your riding off pavement, those knobbies are going to wear out. I talked to a guy earlier, said his lasted 5,000 kilometers. That's 3,000 miles. You might not want to be replacing your tires that often. It's a very smooth bike though. When I'm upright, I don't feel any vibration from the knobbies. It's mostly when I'm leaned over, and even then it's very slight. The bike just reminds you when you're leaned that you don't have smooth road tires on it. My hands are decently protected from the wind. However, heated grips should really be standard on this bike and on the 1290, which they're not. That's my only gripe. So far, you really, KTM, even for riders down south where it's warm all year long, sometimes that cool morning or that cool evening, or you're riding at night and it's a little bit cooler. Heated grips are nice to have. Make them standard. Here we go. Bike tips into the turn. And some quick acceleration. The bike is feeling very smooth. I'll pop it down into fourth so I can have more of this. The bike does jump. When you twist the throttle, it has plenty of horsepower. It's got more horsepower than my Guzzi. It feels a little bit stronger than my Guzzi, but not that much. The 1290 was clearly more powerful. This thing is a little bit more powerful, but it's not that obvious. Of course, on these demo rides, you kind of want to go crazy. You want to be riding this bike in fourth gear so you can accelerate instantly. So they do feel a little bit more powerful, because if I was riding my Guzzi right now, I'd probably just be chugging along in sixth. So you're not going to get that instant acceleration. But yeah, the acceleration is comparable. This is plenty comfortable. I could see myself touring on this across the country. You could totally do it. However, every mile, if I were to ride this on the big highway across the country, Trans-Canada or an interstate in the States, every mile I'd be thinking about those knobbies just chunking along on that pavement. By the time you get to Alaska, you'd be on bold tires. This is the kind of bike you do take to Alaska. So the 790 came out recently, and it makes you wonder, has that made this bike obsolete? Because the 790, by all accounts, is much lighter and clearly better off-road than this thing. So why have a 690, 790, 1090, and 1290? No other manufacturer has 4 levels of bike in these categories. Oh, hit the rev limiter there. 5th gear, pop it down into 4th. Yeah, again, bumpy roads. This suspension, although it's not the electronic suspension of the 1290, this suspension soaks it up without any problems. This is why adventure bikes have pretty much become the most popular type of touring motorcycle. They've supplanted sport tours. It used to be, when I first started motorcycling 20 years ago, that bikes like the BMW R1200 RT, full fairing sport touring bikes, were kind of the ultimate. But these bikes are capable of the same performance, plus off-road use, and on bumpy roads, they soak them up. They do great. Like I said on the last round, I just can't see wanting to be on a sport bike on a road like this. That guy nicely got out of the way for us so we could go zipping down this road at a smart speed. Pop it down into 4th again. I like 4th on this kind of road. It's narrow, There's some twists and turns on it. Fourth is still smooth, and you can whip out of the turn still pretty quickly. Now, bike is nice to stand on. The bars are a little low. It's not. Somehow my Gucci's better to stand on than this bike, which surprises me. Stood on the pegs, and I was still hunched over to reach those bars. I'd have to adjust them to do that, or put new bars on. Here we go. Fourth gear. Somehow I turned on the high beam. I don't know how, but I'll worry about it after we get through this section. Turns are no problem on this bike. It handles them very smoothly. Some people complain about the handling of a 21-inch front wheel on pavement, but I really don't have any complaints. You know how hard you'd have to push this bike for that 21-inch front wheel to be an issue? You would have to be frickin' flying on this thing through the turns. These are a lot nicer roads to have a demo day on than a lot of the demo days that are set in the city. I have to say, guys, if you have a chance to go on a demo day and you get to go, it's worth it to go outside of the city just to experience some nicer roads like this, rather than being stuck in city traffic behind buses and soccer mom vans. They picked the right place for this demo ride. Third gear, coming out of the turn here. Rear tire hooks up nicely. Honestly, this bike, I do think that the 1290 is a little overkill. This bike kind of hits a sweet. This would be totally enough for me. I don't really need to be driving out of corners like a Lamborghini. That 1290, especially, like, I can't even imagine. I rode that in street mode. Sport mode, it'd be too much. This is a little lighter. It's a little bit more reasonable. And quite frankly, if I was going off-road, I would rather take this bike off-road than the big 1290. It's a little easier. It doesn't have maybe all the electronics, and it doesn't have the suspension. But I'll trade all those doodads for a little bit of a lighter, more manageable bike any day. That's all you need, guys. Highly recommended. You want to go cross country? This is your bike. Some light off-roading? Yep, you're good. Here we go. I have to say, I sort of prefer this kind of dash to the big iPad dash. A nice analog tack works well for me. And we're back. Oh yeah, this is a tall bike. Forgot how to. I'm on my tippy toes. All right, guys. So, has the 790 killed the 1090? Has it made it obsolete? Is there a point to a bike like the 1090? Personally, I think yes. I would still buy the 1090, especially now that the 790 is out, and you can get a 1090 for pretty close to the price of a 790. So what you get there is a bike with a lot more power, probably a little bit bigger and more comfortable, and still with really good off-road ability. Maybe not as good as the 790, but most people won't exploit the 790's potential anyways. So, and it is a bike that will, now that it's no longer the brand shiny new thing, it is a bike that will definitely be available for some deals. You're not gonna find a 790 for a good deal, guys. But if you look around, you might find a 1090, or you might find a used one for a song. They're floating around out there. I've seen them. I've seen them for around $10,000 Canadian with fairly low miles. You know what? I'm the kind of guy who would probably buy a 1090 because I do like big bikes. I do like big power. The 790's got plenty of power, but the 1090's got more, and it is a little bit bigger. And comfort matters to me. You know, comfort matters a lot. 1090 is a very comfortable bike. It rides really nicely. I like the engine, and quite frankly, whoa, the frig is going on there? It rides really nicely, and quite frankly, I think is the best looking of the bunch. No offense, KTM, but I like the single headlight on the 1090. But if it was my own money, I would probably, to be honest with you, go for the 1090. Get it for a good price, outfit it, maybe even get a used one with aluminum panniers on it already, all ready to go. I think they're definitely worth a look, and you should definitely give them a try. So, guys, thanks for watching. Different Spokes signing off. Please watch my review of the 1290 Adventure, as well as the 790 Duke. Make sure you check out the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Give the channel some love. And may the spokes be with you.